I have a starting question immediately.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
What games do you play that aren't yours?
Oh, that's a cool question.
Yeah.
I like that question a lot. It's funny. There's a lot of game developers that I know from like the from back when I did like I don't know how to say this in English. Is it like university or I think it's university, right?
Mm.
A lot of those game developers nowadays they don't play any games. They kind of got saturated. I don't know. It's because if it's because they they kind of like grown up. They're growing up, but they don't play games anymore, and it's very sad. And I actually got a little bit of this as well. Like after a few years making games, you start to get a little saturated, and you stop having fun. And the games that I play that aren't mine, they're often simple games. Like the last game that I played, I heard it in a Jonathan Blow interview. It's Dragon Sweeper. That's the name of the game. And it was very fun. It was a very fun game. It's like because it's very simple and it's very challenging. It doesn't demand too much time as well, which is important,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I can keep my productivity. But usually it's those kind of games. Before that, I played Hollow Knight, and it was a 10 out of 10. It was one of the best games I've ever played because it has a lot of influence from like um, Symphony of the Night and Mega Man, like old school
Mm.
references. So, and other than this, I also play a lot of like retro games, like games that I used to really enjoy. It's where my desire to make games come from, right? It's from old school games that I can't play anymore.
I was about to ask if those games are some kind of inspiration for what happened to Apogea and what it looks like. Is that where you?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely, yeah. It's like I like to think that um every artist has this. It's like I like to call it a baggage or like stock, right? Or database. It's like every game you've ever played is kind of like in there somewhere, and it influences it somehow,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if you don't have that, often your product becomes very shallow, and you don't really know why. Which is why a lot of like, these like influencers, like internet influencers,
Mm-hmm.
they when you go like, oh, I don't have any inspiration, what should I do? The default response from these people are like, oh, you should consume more content, you should read a book, you should play a game, you should listen to music, because what they're saying in simple words is like, oh, you lack stock, you
Hmm.
lack database, you lack knowledge, right?
It's something that immediately comes to my mind. There's a
Yeah.
book. I can't remember the name exactly, but it was basically about where ideas come from, and maybe that was the title of the book. I don't know, but the consensus of the book was that um, you go through your life gathering raw materials, and
Yep.
you don't even know what they're for. Like you don't even know what's the purpose of it all, but eventually you will reach the point where those raw materials will be shaped up into something that is completely unexpected. And
Yeah.
I think I am a generalist. Just overall, I take like this kind of even unhealthy interest in things,
Mm.
which are seemingly completely unrelated. But when I don't know, talk about things or design, because I'm a designer.
Mm.
They like come together all of a sudden. It's like Steve Jobs
Yeah.
said you can connect dots looking backwards.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the vibe I'm going for, and I really appreciate how people building products overall step out of their comfort zone to go and travel, go taste new food, and read a book that is nothing about the industry they're working in. All those stuff, all those
Yeah.
kind of things, because ultimately that leads to a richer experience for the end user when they finally build something. Right? Is that
Exactly.
do we align on this?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like it's a cathartic thing, right? When you relax and you do like this in psychology we call this floating attention.
Mm.
I don't know how if it's correctly translated, but in psychology we call it floating attention. It's when you don't focus too much on doing something. It's when you don't try hard, right? When you do floating attention and you produce content, the stock comes from the unconscious, right?
Mm-hmm.
So without the stock, it's frustrating. You go, I can't put anything out, and I don't understand why. You know, that's why we need the experiences you talked about. Of course, there's always a limit, right? There's always gonna be someone out there who says like, oh, I've read every book, I've traveled to every country, and I have no inspiration, and that's like another subject completely. But what this person lacks is discipline, not stock.
And that, dear viewers, is Ed. Welcome, Ed. Thank you so much for joining us, by the way.
Yeah.
That's
Cool
fucking
question, man.
yeah,
What games do I play?
yeah. Because look, I think it's important because that also makes a good foundation for what you're thinking about Apogeia's future and all of that, right? It's just it creates your point of view on the design of the game, and since you are leading the efforts for Apogeia, I think it's important for people to understand like where you're coming from. And
Oh yeah, absolutely.
yeah, I mean, if you ask me, I'm coming from World of Warcraft, and I just played the reference to World of Warcraft on YouTube, and Akis was like, "What the fuck?" Right? So we clearly
Mm.
have different walks of life and different experiences, but ultimately we want best for MMOs. And I seen a couple of videos lately about the state of MMOs, and you watched my video. Thank you, by the way. I didn't know it was that interesting, but
It was a
glad.
cool video.
Thanks, dude. I put a lot of effort into actually just to the effort was around having concise idea of what I want to say rather than actually thinking about what to say. You know what I mean? Just convey the ideas
Mm.
because in a brevity way. So what I'm getting is the videos that I've seen lately about the state of MMO is that it's rather stale industry and
Mm.
it's someone else's opinion. I'm not saying this is the fact, right? I'm just saying that MMOs overall look.
Yeah, it's
So
kind of a fact.
it
It's kind of
kind
a
of like
fact.
it seems like we all feel this way, and
Yeah, because
I
there's a very important issue when you're making MMORPG, and that issue is money, right?
yeah.
It gets in the way.
Oh, isn't also
Money
the
gets
skill
in
the
the way.
problem?
The what?
The
Sorry.
skill, like because the MMO is essentially the confluence of so many things in game development, just crazy.
I don't think so, man.
Really?
Have you ever talked to someone who's worked in a big company? Like, I don't know, like worked at Bungie or Blizzard or whatever. Like these people are very talented. They're very talented. They know a lot about a lot, right? These people are like a silent majority. They don't talk about it too much because they don't want the flack. They just want to work. And they know a lot about a lot. And I think the issue with MMORPG specifically is money. I think it's like the biggest issue because um, it may seem like people are just stepping over themselves when they're like making an MMORPG, but I don't think that's it. I think it's business decisions because MMORPGs are expensive. They take a lot of money to make. They take a lot of time to make. It is a risk for a company because you're spending like what 5 years with 100 employees making a video game that could flop, you know. And then these decisions when they get out of the door from the business meeting, they have the business meeting, they go like, okay guys, like what are we actually going to do? Like no more child's play, right?
Mm-hmm.
They go, yeah, we're going the safe route. And the safe route is more often than not that fun for the players. And the players are like, why the fuck don't you guys just make fun? I don't understand. This is the reason. The reason is because business decisions and profits and paying employees and debt, right?
Yeah.
Like if you ask a developer like that has decided to make something big, how much debt they had, they're gonna probably say that it's pretty high, right? And because they take a lot of risks. So
Yeah.
when these decisions are on the table and you have kids to feed, quote unquote, you don't think like, well, but this is gonna be very fun for the player. Like you don't care anymore, right?
Yeah.
Things get dark. And I think that's the issue with MMORPG is that it's big companies doing big stuff, and they don't fuck around. Right?
Yeah,
They
I
get
think,
to the
look, by default, I think by default, a company, especially in the creative business, which like gaming industry is, they are
mm,
like risk averse, essentially. I mean, they don't want to try anything new. They ideally, if they had their ideal world, they would probably walk the same path over and over as long as it makes them money. And we need, I mean, there's another streamer I watched, and I had a little argument with him just a while ago. he said he can't like support indie development studios. He only has to play big titles because he's creating content full time, and that's the only way to stay afloat, etc. I actually believe the opposite. And probably that's why I even like reached out to you, and I pay so much attention to Apogeia, because like small companies overall, they are the most likely to be the next disruptor for the industry, because they can pivot literally the next day. Like you can wake up tomorrow.
They can do decisions. They can do decisions that have nothing to do with business.
Yeah.
They can be like, oh yeah, let's just make something fun.
Exactly. Let's make
it's
something
not gonna make
cool.
us any money. Who cares?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly. So okay, you kind of touched on this briefly. Can you tell me how you are thinking about business decisions when it comes to Apogeia, and how you keep this still fun for everyone going forward?
Just to touch on what you said about the streamer who doesn't support indies, real quick, and then I'll answer the question.
Yeah.
I understand him, okay, because there's a point that, look, there's a difference between you supporting an indie business, quote unquote, that has some seriousness to it, and supporting an indie company that's just producing, how do I say this, like some sort of MacGyver kind of game, right? Yeah, an asset store bought recycled garbage that's like not a lot of effort put into it, and just trying to make a quick buck. There's a huge difference there, right? It's like a gigantic valley in between these two. It's important to discern between these two companies, because the difference is potential versus you just losing your time and money, right? So I understand the streamer. I understand where he's coming from. He probably had this exact experience I'm talking about right now. He played a game and he found out that all the assets are from the asset store, and that the developers don't give a shit, and then they're not gonna do anything. And it's important to keep your antennas up, right? To recognize this. And the latter, you know, the indie, the artist, the real artists, they usually have a vision. They usually care about the product. They usually listen to the concern of the players, and they're usually active. That's a giveaway, right, for developers that take things seriously. And now to answer your question, can you ask that
yeah,
the question
sure.
again?
So you mentioned how businesses are, risk averse. They
Oh yeah.
And how do you prevent that
business.
with Apogea? How are you thinking about business when it comes to your game?
Yeah, so that's a very, very good question. The thing is, look, I've been making games for like almost 12 years now. I don't know how many years it has been. I need to do the math. And I was very lucky. I was very fortunate. A lot of my games worked out, and they were not the model of Apogea, right? Apogea was the first game that I did not try my luck, quote unquote. It was the first game that I was like, yeah, I don't care, and I just made it. I just made it because I wanted to make it. Instead of like laying out a business plan and being like, okay, step one, blah blah blah, like this is gonna give me profit, this is not gonna give me profit, etc., etc. It was the very first game that I just didn't care. I was like, I'm gonna lose money, and I have been losing money. I have been losing money for 3.5 years, and in fact, a little addend to that. Last month was the first month ever that I did not lose money. I was even. It was the first time because of Patreon. But I digress.
That's okay.
It was the very first game that I just didn't give a crap. I was like, okay, I'm gonna take decisions based on what I want rather than what's trending or what's popular or what works financially or what works economically, right? So that's how I handle it. It's by not caring, which is insane. It is an insane position. If you tell this to anyone, to any game developer, say like, look, dude, all you have to do is not care. It's like, I mean, it has to pay the bills, right? It has to do a lot of things, a lot of grown-up stuff. But I don't really have to worry about that. I'm very fortunate in that regard. So, yeah, that's how I did it.
It's very unusual. I must say, like, You kind of caught me off guard with that one. So okay. So just to reiterate, so far you've been thinking about games as a business, as profit, the next step on the ladder. But Apogeia was the moment in which you said,
Polar opposite.
"Fuck that, let's go the opposite way."
Yep.
Okay, but it's
Yep.
still business. It's still like
It is still business in the sense that I have to pay my developers.
Oh yeah, I mean, look.
And
So I'm running an
yeah.
agency, and I know that my biggest asset is human that can
Yep.
literally walk out the door any day they want. That's literally
Yep.
the fucked up realization. Like the minute you realize that, like, oh shit. However, that said, Apogeia is here to stay, right? Like we want the game to succeed, and we want people to be interested in the game and get new content, and you guys be happy.
Oh,
on the depth.
I really have to elaborate on that if you
Okay.
allow me.
Okay. Yeah. In a second. Just a moment. So you have that.
Yeah.
How do you think about Apogea long term in terms of monetization and keeping that afloat?
Yeah. Okay. Look. Here's what I think about Apogea. It is art. It is art that me and the other developers, the very talented developers, made. I don't think in terms. I don't think of success in terms of sales. I think of success in terms of making a game that is good and honest with my artistic views. It's like if you were to paint a painting to your daughter, would you care if it has any monetary value? It's
Not
for
at
your
all.
daughter specifically. It makes no difference, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly that's the precise parallel. Apogea is like, it's a game that I made because I missed old Tibia. And I missed games that were actually hard and took decisions that are not based on monetary things. And I just made it because I miss it. So if it doesn't work financially and it doesn't pay the company, then I have to make changes to make it pay the company.
Okay.
I'm not looking for profit. There's a difference, right? Because you have to understand this difference. There's a difference between decisions that are made for profit and decisions that are made for sustainability. Okay, I'm not gonna make the game 100% free because then we have to close the company.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm not adding like gotcha mechanics because I really need to buy that Lamborghini. You know, there's a huge difference there, and the way that I take decisions and that I carry the company is by making decisions for in order to allow the company to sustain itself and grow. So if the game dies, quote unquote, like no one plays the game, it won't really matter in the sense that I did what I had to do. I did the deed. If it doesn't work out, we're just making more games, which is what I have done for the past 11, 12 years. But the reason why we opened the tests 6 months ago was to make sure that someone cared about this. You know, I have like, before Apogea was open to the public, I had another game 50% of the way there. It was a car game. Like if you scour the Discord, you're gonna find some screenshots of the car game. It's a very cool game. It's probably gonna be like a good idea to make it after Apogea, like a few years after. But it was like going to be a mobile game with like traditional in-app purchases, you know, like the loot box kind of thing, and that's gonna give me money. And it's like I said, I'm not really worried about that right now. So yeah, like it's not that complicated. Apogea is an attempt to be honest with myself and with the gaming world. And if the gaming world doesn't want it, okay, I'll move on.
I think
I cut my losses.
I don't think it will come down to that. I mean, from maybe chat can spam a few W's for me if they want, but from my perspective, like the game has been well received, and there's nothing but bright future, right? And can you take us
Yeah.
very briefly through the numbers of the first playtest versus the latest playtest? What's the difference in
Oh yeah,
playability?
absolutely. It's very fun, dude.
Yeah, go for it.
The very first playtest, which was like um Aches and Grief and Zaishin and Addled, Pigeon Mage. These were all like players from the first test.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was like around 50 active players, and it actually worked out pretty well, surprisingly.
Mm,
Like 50 players was enough to keep the server alive.
nice.
And we ran it for months, by the way. It was
Mm,
like 2 months, I think, the
mm-hmm.
the test lasted. And back then we had around 2,000 wish lists. And the the last playtest we had, I think it was around 1,500 active players, which isn't concurrent players, right? Concurrent players was a maximum of we hit the plateau of 600 concurrent players, but active was like 1,500. It was like a lot. It was a
Wow.
really huge number, and we just hit 33,000 wish lists. So
What
it
the
was like, I
fuck?
don't know. I don't even know. It's like a 20,000% increase
Yeah.
from the first test.
Wow, well done,
It
dude.
became very big. It became very big.
Yeah. Okay. So going back to the drawing the fine line between artistic vision and the business model, right? Uh,
Yeah.
I kind of want to just poke a bit more around the scalability of it. Uh,
Mm.
where do you see Apogea in a couple of years? And perhaps if there's like some learnings that you could share with us that other companies that make MMOs, as far as NCSoft goes, even that could learn from you to
Mm.
make MMOs better for everyone.
Oh Jesus.
Because I feel like
That second part was really hard.
look, Apogea. Okay, so I'll let you think while I talk. All
Mm.
right. So, um, chat, you have to realize that I've never played Tibia. I've never played RuneScape. I am WoW player through and through, Lineage 2 player. Uh, I even okay. Look, I was making jokes at Tibia when I was in high school. Okay, like I was hating
Okay.
it. Okay, so I'm coming from a different world to you, and
Okay.
the conversation that you Ed had with me through chat actually was that you completely changed my perspective at the way I look at MMORPGs, because so far every YouTube short I uploaded is about how I am a casual player.
Mm.
And then you said, dude, if you enjoy Apogeia, you are not a casual. What the fuck are you
Yeah,
talking
you're not.
about? And I'm like,
You're
what the
not.
fuck? He sees me, you know? And so, and so I'm trying to get at the point that Apogeia has something in it.
Mm. Oh,
I
I
don't
see. I see. I
I
see
don't
what
know
you mean.
I don't know what it is for me. It's perhaps the ratio of effort to risk. Effort
Yeah.
to reward or risk to reward. But there's something about the game that keeps me very engaged, and I wish every other game I now play, like take Final Fantasy today, I wish that game had it in it. So I'm just trying to
So
think like what other games could learn from Apogea to make them so hyped about among the players.
I just typed it in chat. I had to Google this guy's name because I can't remember his name every time I think about him. But I think about him a lot. He passed away a few years ago.
Let me see.
He's a Polish guy, actually.
What?
I think his name is Mikali.
Wait, Polska Góra? What do you mean? Okay. Well, let me
Yeah,
see.
he's a Polish man.
Where, where,
So,
where did you put it?
uh,
Oh, Michał. Oh,
I put it
shit.
in Discord chat. Yeah.
I know
So,
this name.
Mikali, I think it's Mikali how you pronounce it, right? In Polish?
This is not Polish. But
It's not?
no,
Okay.
no. But I know the guy. He's Hungarian. Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
Mikali's curve is essentially he defined a concept called flow, right? It's a game design concept that
Mm.
a lot of people know about. You learn in like in school and stuff like that. But flow essentially dictates two things. It's um it's a state in which you enter when you're playing a video game where Mikhail described as you forget about time, you know. Time passes and you go, oh my God, I
Mm-hmm.
forgot to eat, I forgot to drink, I forgot to do a lot of things because you're so concentrated. You're like penetrated into the game because it provides you two things, challenge and reward in the correct balance. That's important. Flow only happens when there's a correct balance. Have you ever tried to learn a musical instrument?
No, for the better of the
No.
world.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I can think of something else. Maybe learning how to type on a new keyboard or something like
Sure.
that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, there you go. There's a very specific moment where you go, where you like it just flows,
Yeah, driving a
and
car
you
is
just
also
kind of
the
lose
same, right?
track. What?
Driving a car is also
Yeah,
quite
there you
similar.
go.
Yeah.
Driving a car is a good analogy. It's like there's a very specific moment. It's a short period of time. It's a very short window where it just feels right,
Mm-hmm.
and you just like it just flows naturally. That's what he's talking about. That's called flow in game design. And what I try to do with all of my strength is to recreate the moment. And the way I do it is by understanding that is understanding a psychology principle, which is pain is necessary. Sigmund Freud said that if you remove the pain from a human or a person, that person will go insane. He will go insane because he needs the pain. It's the yang of the yin,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Without it, it's too much. It's like too sweet. It becomes almost annoying, right? How easy things can be. If it's too easy, it's not fun. If it's too hard, it's not fun. It needs to be just right, you know. So I try to follow that game design concept when I make games. It's not easy. It's easier said than done, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can just go like, yeah, beep 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 boo boo boo, like yeah, sure. But how do you actually do it? And what I think is that we accidentally in the 80s and the 90s did that with video games. We did that accidentally. We were like, okay, let's just make games really fucking hard for no reason. I mean, it wasn't for no reason. It was because of game cartridges that were really expensive, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but they did that. They made the games real hard. And I think that mistake was an accidental, insane discovery, right? Because we realized that frustration and difficulty in the right amount, just right, becomes amazing. And we always remember those games nowadays. We go like, oh yeah, remember when we played?
Yeah.
I think the reason is because of that, because we reached flow. And whenever we reach flow, we always remember the thing. And there's going to be like games that you played recently, like modern games where you felt that, but it's usually a very brief window of time. It's not all the time, because it gets there, but it usually rewards the player way too much or way too little, right? I can name a million examples, but I
Mm-hmm.
guess you understand my point.
Yeah, I do.
So that's what I think you felt. I
Okay.
think you felt Michaelis curve.
Well, it's funny. The flow state is actually a well-known concept in project, well, time management more than anything. You try to find the part of the day where you feel the most energetic and likely to focus, and you schedule the most important tasks around that time. So you don't do invoicing 9 a.m. for example, right? Like you do it 5 p.m. That kind of thing. So the flow state is
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. You can finish.
No, I mean, yeah, I was gonna kind of like drift off a bit. So what did you want to add to that?
I want to answer the questions. You made two questions.
Mm-hmm.
The first question was, how do I see Apogea in a few years, right?
Yes. In a
Uh,
couple of years, yes.
yeah. The way I see it is like I think I know the answer, and the way I see it is like it's it's uh it's going to be a rocky road in 2 years. It's not gonna be smooth. It's not gonna be smooth sailing. There's gonna be things that are gonna go wrong. There's gonna be things that are gonna go really right. And I think that without effort and without having a stable company, without having good developers, the game will probably go under difficulties, because I've seen it a million times, right? But I see, if everything goes right and I'm prepared enough, I see it becoming just like the old games that I really enjoyed playing, because I'm not giving up on my philosophy, right? It's like, I think it works, and I've kind of proven that it works a little bit. I could be wrong, but I think I did. And yeah, and I think answering the other question that you made, which is like what other developers can learn from Apogea, is that you don't have to be that scared, and you can find proof that design doesn't have to be watered down for kids in order for the player to feel comfortable, to feel numbed, dazed, right? Because what modern developers do, and it makes sense because that generates revenue, right? Generates money, is they rely on dopamine to keep the player there rather than challenge. So instead of using flow, they use dopamine, right? Which is a Skinner box concept. I don't know if you're familiar with Skinner's theory, right?
I'm not.
Which is, you're not?
Mm-mm.
It's an evolution of Pavlov's theory, which is the salivating dog, right? Which is it's essentially a reward and punishment, right? And the reward comes when you do the thing that the game wants you to do. If you do what the game wants you to do, they reward you. You know, a classic example of this is login rewards.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you log in 7 times in a row. Here's a gold box. That's a Skinner box concept. It's telling you subjectively that you need to log in every day. You can't miss it, or you're not going to gain the little reward. So you salivate, right, to the thought of having to log in every day. And the dopamine rush happens when the rewards come in. So you keep doing the thing. And what Apogeia bases itself on is on flow. What I base myself on is look, I'm not saying you have to play the game. I'm not saying you're going to have a good time. I'm not saying you're going to get dopamine rushes. But I'm pretty sure that if you try hard enough, you're going to reach that really good state, healthy, good state of completely unfocused from the real world, where it's going to feel really good when you get there. The reward is going to be like 10 times better. And that's it, right? I think modern developers shouldn't shy away from these kinds of concepts, but I can't expect them to do this when monetization is in the way, right? Which is a subject we should talk about, by the way.
Yes, it's a very nice segue. I definitely wanted to talk about monetization and PvP. I think these are my biggest points for the talk today too. So we kind of touched on how you're thinking about in terms of business model and where you want to take Apogea with that, and how you balance the profit and the artistic vision. Can you like set it in stone for us what the business model will be for Apogea? How you're going to monetize the game?
Yeah, sure. It's not that complicated.
Good.
I
Yeah.
purposefully made barriers in mechanics that if you screw up, you kind of own us a little bit. That's it. That's the whole monetization idea. It's like you have the skill tree, right?
Yes.
You put a point in the skill tree, and then you go, oh, I put a point wrong, right? Or whatever. Or I want to try this other build, or this thing is like, okay, now you have to pay for the skill tree reset. And then we were like, okay, this is super aggressive. It's like the most aggressive monetization system I've ever done. So we through iterations, we were like reducing the value of the reset, and then we started giving free resets for new players. And then we made premium, which is like you pay every month and you can buy resets through gold, right? But that's the idea. The idea is like there are mechanics that don't have any direct relation to power, that put a little barrier there, and we say this barrier, if you screw up, you don't have to pay it. It's if you screw up. So game knowledge rewards you in a way. Game knowledge is money in Apogeia, right? Because if you understand the skill tree and you go, okay, like I'm not gonna take this point now, even though it looks very attractive. I'm not gonna do it now because I know that on level 30 I don't need it. So you just saved yourself X gold or X dollars, right? But I digress.
No, that's perfect. Go for it.
Yeah. So the monetization system is like based on these things, which is like mechanics that have traps, that have places where you can go wrong because I give you a lot of freedom, right? I say just do whatever you want. But then if you do whatever you want and you don't really think about it, you're gonna make mistakes, and then it's an incentive for you to get premium, which is an incentive for you to support the game, right? You don't have to, but if you don't do it, your character will be sometimes it will be in like awkward situations, right? When you have to go, okay, like I'm not the build I wanted to be, or I want to try a new character and I can't because I have to pay to unlock characters, etc. I want to completely steer away from selling direct power. So I'm never selling you XP boost. I'm never selling you a character. I'm never selling you an item. I'm never selling you the ability to buy gold in the game. That's not going to happen. And I don't incentivize it. Because you sent me an article the other day, which was like, I forgot the name of the game. I apologize. Bitcraft, yeah.
Yeah.
And they said, look, RMT is going to happen whether you want it or not. And what we here do is we take that into account and we do the monetization system. It's kind of like a mixed monetization system. And I think that we have a wrong conception about video games. Video games are not books. The optics do matter. Optics matter. If you don't incentivize something, it will happen less. If you don't encourage players and give them tools to make something, it will happen less. A black market is way less efficient than a market that is implemented into your game. So if you say, oh, it's going to happen, so might as well just do it, it's kind of like giving in, it's giving up. It's being like, oh, I'm so tired, man. I'm just going to let it happen. It's like, no, you have to have a strong stance at all times into what your game is about. Like, why did you make the game in the first place? What was the reason? Why did the Bitcraft developers make the game? Why did they do it? I have no idea. And I read the article and I was like, I don't know why they made the game. Like, is it for making money? Is that the goal? Because if that's the goal, I don't want to play it.
Yeah, there were articles about the game that they are going heavy on crypto, and that they released a statement that's not going to happen. There was a little bit of drama around their monetization systems, and the real money trading is probably an article that they wrote on the back of that drama just to clarify the air a bit. However, I think what they said in the latest statement from yesterday is that they don't like exclude the possibility of monetizing.
It's like saying, like, look, crime happens in the world.
Yeah.
So why the fuck do we need prisons for?
Yes, basically.
Just let it happen, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, this is not the same thing, right? You're not committing a crime if you're doing RMT. That's not what I'm saying. But it is an optic. It is like saying, like, oh, whatever, just let it happen.
Yeah.
It's like, like, not really. You have to understand why you're making something, anything. Like you, for example, Bybsie, you have to ask yourself before you go to bed or when you're taking a shower, like, why are you a content creator? Why are you doing this? You have to answer that question honestly. Like, is it because you want to give different perspectives into people's minds that you think you can elaborate better than most can? That's a great answer. Is it because you want to give like windows into different games and like smaller companies and like guys like like me, that have takes, spicy hot takes into the game development world. Like you have to ask yourself that question.
Yeah.
And when you're making a video game, it's the same exact thing. You have to be like, okay, but why am I making this? Is it because I just want to pay my bills? If so, sure, like whatever. That's
Yeah.
not a good reason, but you can do that. It's not a crime, right?
So
And yeah, go ahead.
can I? Yeah, I'll just add something to it. I've done this exercise a couple of years ago, actually. I used to be in my 20s. I used to be this crazy motherfucker that would just run at full speed and not wait for anything. I was just I laughed with someone the other day that I was this flower smelling champion. I would want to be the best at everything, and I would just constantly look for challenges and competition. But it burned me out, obviously, and I retreated for like 1 week into the woods, and I honestly just recalibrated my thinking about life, and it helped me so much just to find those 3 pillars in life that I want to chase, and that helped me to focus and remove any distractions from my life whatsoever. So anything comes my way right now, I look at my 3 pillars. Does it help any of them? No, fuck off. Simple as that.
Yeah, there you go.
So it really helps to find your why. It really does. I know we're going into the
Yeah.
meta level thinking right now, but just find why. So why you're doing this job? Why you're going to this job? If you need money,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
okay. It's okay to know you're doing this just for money, but then ask yourself a question: Is this is my future, right? So
Yeah.
so as long as you understand why, you can do something about it. Can you define for me, so we have any kind of point of reference for this discussion, how do you see yourself, the definition of pay to win?
Oh, definition of pay to win.
Mm-hmm.
It's when you directly buy power. You're
Okay.
paying to win. So if you actually, it's not just power, right? You can also buy prestige, because some people win if they have prestige.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's it. Like many things could be considered paying to win. Like, does having a better computer constitutes as paying to win when the game is competitive enough that a good computer gives you advantage? Yeah, kind of,
You could
right?
argue that.
Yeah, there's like degrees of paying to win, I guess. But there's a very blatant version of it, which is you click the button, the cash shop button, and then you buy power straight up. It
Yeah.
doesn't get simpler than that,
Yeah.
does it? If you create a very intricate system that has a lot of different points and things that happens in your game, and then eventually your money is kind of led into power, you have to measure things. Like how long did it take for the system to get into the power? How much did it cost? What is the exact proportion of power that you can buy, right? Because here's the thing: there's a concept in game design, yet another concept in game design,
Go for it.
that is called whale hunting. You know what that means?
No. Well,
No.
designing the game for people with big wallets? Is that what it is?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
You nailed it.
Okay.
Whale hunting is like there's like people in all video games. It's not just MMO that like to spend a lot of money. We don't know why, but there are people out there who does this. They just have a lot of money and they want to spend all that money in your game because they like your game, they like you, whatever. And games often prepare for that. They go, oh yeah, I have to remember about the whales. And then they add something to hunt the whales. Usually these are like repetitive purchases you can do inside of the game, So loot boxes is a great example of whale hunting. Skin unlocking
So
is a great
gotcha
example of
games
whale
essentially.
hunting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that the more you buy, the more you get.
Mm-hmm.
Yay! So the whales get hooked, And there's like in Apogeia, I completely avoid that. I know it exists because I study game design and I've made games that have the things that hook whales, but I don't care. It's like whatever. If you're a whale, go spend the money somewhere else, right? Because I think that it's very hard to steer away from making good monetization systems that include these kind of things, that includes all the all the Skinner box models and all the whale hunting stuff, and maintain dignity at the same time, right? I personally don't like, for example, when you can buy a skin in a video game. I want to earn that skin because it's your visual, it's how you look like. You should earn your evolution, your visual evolution. And if you don't earn it, what happens is you remove prestige from the game in the sense of you don't know how the person achieved that anymore. In old school Tibia, if you saw someone running really fast, you know they earned that. It's a simple thing, but you know they earned it. You know they were like grinding 24/7 in some deep, shitty cave for like 2 months, right? And in Apogeia, I feel like if you see someone with a cool outfit, you go, "Oh, I know that guy earned that. I don't know how, but he did because you can't just buy it, right?" So pay to win to me is when you directly sell rewards. You completely skip the flow part and just shoot the dopamine in your face through money. That's pay to win.
I played Lord of the Rings online last weekend, and believe it or not, they literally have the in-game store on the skill bar, so you never miss it. It's literally there.
Ooh.
And it goes to the point where you can buy gold, talents, gear, like skip quests. It's just unbelievable. But I'll tell you like a funny story. I'm not a big creator, and one of the first videos I uploaded is kind of rage baity, but I 100% true. I said that Guild Wars 2 is like gazillion% pay to win. Oh, people hated me for it because those people, because I revealed the truth about players just being naive, like not seeing what's in front of them. Like in Guild Wars 2, you can literally buy gold for real money, like straight up. That's it.
Yeah.
You just go there and
Yeah.
pay. There it is.
I played Guild Wars 2 a lot, by the way.
Yeah,
I
no, me too.
was
Like thousands of hours, probably 5-6K.
Yeah,
So
me
so
too.
you can buy gold. You can buy the best looking skins in the shop, and people argue that what's the skin giving you really? Well, I'm telling you, it's giving you social status. Like in real
Yeah,
life, you buy
he's giving you
Ferrari, you
prestige.
show up, people knew you're OG. Like in game, people do that
Yeah.
too. So to me, this is in a way pay to win, like less tangible, but it is. Um,
Yeah.
and when you are a heavy pay to win game, every business decision, going back to that now, revolves around making the next best thing for sale rather than the next best thing to obtain. And I
Yeah.
fear that World of Warcraft is following the same trail. And the only
Every
last,
game follows this path.
yeah,
Every
I mean,
game
the
follows.
only last bastion that I can think of is literally the game I played today, Final Fantasy 14. They do have,
Final
uh,
Fantasy
they
14.
don't have like in-game shop really. You can't buy.
Mm.
You can like there are some, I guess, skins and mounts you can buy through their website, but in game in the client you have nothing, no gold,
Mm.
no gear, nothing. So I mean, they are a sub-based game, so maybe that's where they get money from. But it's kind of a proof on the market that it's possible, and I just fear that
Yeah.
other games are like too lazy to do something about it because the way for money is just so easy. People are there just to suck it on call, like literally, like there it is, suck it. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I will. Just come on, dude.
Yeah.
Have some self-respect. So I'm trying to shout out any games. Like when I'm thinking about Apogeia, I immediately feel relief. So next time I log in and I see a guy running by me that's twice as fast as I am, I'd be like, oh, how do I get that? And I don't have to reach for my wallet.
Yeah, you don't.
That's awesome.
That's the intention, right? The intention is like when you play a game that you see someone who's like strong or whatever, and your first impression is like, wait, how did he pay for that? Then there's a problem, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
There is a problem right there because you essentially created an environment where people were competing with wallets, with
Yeah,
credit cards.
yeah,
And that's lame, man. I'm
it
sorry.
is.
Like some people like this, but like I just think it's lame. Like I
It
don't
is
see the
very
fun
lame.
in that. Real life is like that. Like if you have the biggest, bestest sport car out there, you paid it with money, And then it's like we don't play. I mean, at least I don't play video games to replicate that feeling. I played to have a different feeling, right?
Mm-hmm.
That I didn't know was possible. It was video games that showed me that it was possible, right? And now I see that we can do that. We choose not to do it because it's not lucrative enough. And that's the thing, by the way. A lot of games could just be subscription based and that's it, right? But since it's very much acceptable to do harmless monetization, like skins, like pets, like whatever, they like, why not? Let's just have subscriptions and the harmless thing, right? But I think that withdraws from the game. It really does. When I do this in Apogeia, when I finally add something that you can buy that isn't just a mechanical like interpass, I have to be very, very, very careful to not remove any kind of progression and prestige from the game. So one idea that we had was like ordinary house items or house decoration that isn't like, like glitter up crazy Korean looking things, right? We're thinking more like, oh, you can buy this different chest that's like, it's not better, it's slightly different.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's no, it's like there's a lot of dilemmas that we face when making a game this scale. It's really haunting and daunting.
I can
But
imagine.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can imagine. That's, as you said, like you have a vision for the game, but also you have to pay people that make the game. It's literally the ever
yeah,
going dilemma of an entrepreneur. It's really is like this is you are running a company at the end of the day, and that's what you have to realize. And I mean, you're fully aware, but just saying out loud.
I am.
Uh, yeah. No, absolutely. I agree with what you said, and there are games that definitely cross the line. And I mean, Throne and Liberty, for example, right? And yeah, whatever's coming, like Chrono Odyssey, Archage Chronicles 2, all of that will be pay to win, 100%. And I'm so sad about this. One thing that really perked my ears yesterday, or a couple of days ago, the Dune Awakening, right? They are literally pay for the box, free to play. Then after that game, and my immediate thought was, okay, here comes another Guild Wars 2. Because Guild Wars 2 started off that way. How are you supposed to sustain a business like this for 12 years? Like, yeah, maybe they have idea that I
Yeah.
don't know about. They say they're gonna release
The
DLCs, which
thing
are
is
paid,
that
but
yeah, when you pitch a project to a group of suited guys in a room,
mm,
that's the last thing you think about. You're thinking like, how can I convince them to give me money to make the game? So you make promises, and it's not like I promise to. No, it's like you have to
yeah,
sign a
yeah,
contract that if you don't do exactly those things, you are screwed beyond belief.
hmm
Right. And MMOs, like I said, is not cheap to make. It's not cheap to make. It takes a long time, and they need the return of investment, right?
yeah,
So these companies, like you have to always squint when you see a big company saying like, we're not gonna charge you anything. Don't worry.
yeah,
It's like, are you sure? Like, how did you get funding? Like, how did people pay for? Like, how did you pay all the developers? Where did the money come from? Like, I know that there are insane people out there who just have a lot of money and decide to make a video game, and I think that that's the
Intrepid
exception.
Studios, Ashes of Creation, right? The guy is
Yeah,
just
I
paying out of
guess
his own pocket hundreds of millions, just crazy. Now, I think he said he's like burned like 60 million on it right now, and he's looking forward to spending another part of that.
60 million.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
yeah.
That is a lot of money,
It
dude.
is a lot
That's a
of
lot
money,
of money.
dude. Crazy. But he
Yeah.
that's why. So when I think about all that money he's invested and all the community feedback he's getting and how on the ground he is, I really believe this game's gonna come to fruition. But it's beyond the point. Anyway, I know some people are just very skeptical, so I'm just gonna put it out there. But anyway, let's switch gears to PvP for a second. Okay.
Oh, sure.
I've heard you over and over or on all the streams with Akis, then that like PvP will be part of the game, but you don't know how to tackle that. Separate servers or balance that as part of the PvE experience. Where are your thoughts
Mm,
right now after the couple of weeks after you had this talk with him, and what are you
yeah.
going to do?
The thing is, PvP is a subject that it's very hard to talk about, but I have a lot of takes about it. Um,
Well, do you agree with
the
my
first
take,
thing,
by the way, the one in the video, that PvP
yeah,
could be essentially removed with no impact on the game whatsoever?
it will have an impact if you remove PvP. I can explain why.
Okay. Yeah, go for it. Good starting point.
There's if your game isn't instance based, like Guild Wars 2. Guild Wars 2 is instance based. So if you go into an area, you're only going to see a decided amount of people in that area.
Mm-hmm.
The server is going to dictate that depending on how many people are there, multiple other factors. If your game is not like that, so it is a completely seamless world, like Apogeia is, and you disrespect someone else by stealing the loot, by calling them names, by killing their monster
Mm.
or whatever. PvP makes it so that that interaction specifically has a different weight.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you killed my monster? Are you sure, dude? Like I just added your name to my list,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll see each other on the battlefield when the time comes. Like that's a different feeling, right? You're gonna think twice before disrespecting other people, especially if you have PvP enabled. It's like you're not gonna disrespect someone else because the fight's gonna happen. You might as well just attack someone, right? You might as well just start PvP if you have it enabled and you walk into a spawn and you start chaosing someone else. Chaosing is kill steal. I don't know
Yeah,
if you're
sure.
familiar.
So do you
Yeah,
think
go ahead.
game enables that kind of behavior could be avoided instead of going for PvP as a solution?
If you remove um, seamlessness, so if you make the game instanced,
Mm-hmm.
so every dungeon is instanced, cities are instanced. They decide like there's a decision between like which players appear on your screen, which players don't.
Mm-hmm.
Then you don't have this issue because you can control that, right? You can be like, well, who is gonna KS you? There's no one there. You're alone in the dungeon. You know what I mean?
I do. I just wonder. So you gave examples such as kill stealing, right? Things like this.
Yeah.
In Guild Wars 2, you can't kill steal even if you're in the same instance. So there's no like tension between players to go full PvP. So I'm thinking if game creates problems that PvP then solves, and I'm just wondering if we can remove those problems to not go for PvP as a solution.
How does what? How does Guild Wars 2 prevent chaosing? I don't remember.
Yeah. So it
In
just
fact, I do remember that I was never chaosed when I was playing Guild
yeah.
Wars 2, I
You
think.
can't because everything is shared. Like there's no mine
Oh yeah,
yours. Yeah.
like people chaosed on purpose, right?
I mean, if you kill them up together, you just get the experience halved, whether you were in party or not. You just like pro rata kind of experience calculation.
So they just spread resources more
Mm-hmm.
to fix the issue. Yeah, I remember now.
Yeah.
I don't
And
think that's a good solution,
okay,
and I can explain why.
sure. I mean, yeah, whatever.
Um, resource scarcity is a pillar of difficulty in games like old school Tibia. Yeah, there's this very simple gameplay loop in old school Tibia, which is you kill monsters
Mm-hmm.
to gather resources, you sell those resources, then you buy resources to kill monsters.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
That's the loop, and then you do that forever.
Mm-hmm.
So you kill the rat in Apogea, you get the gold, you buy the potion, and then you go kill something stronger to give you more experience and more loot, and then you use the potion, and then you sell the loot of the thing that was stronger,
Yeah.
and over and over
Yeah.
and over. It's a very simple loop. So if you say, okay, in order to fix any kind of griefing, we're just gonna give more, well, that dilutes the economy. right? It makes so that resources are not scarce anymore. There's no scarcity. It's just a matter of time. You're just making the player wait, which is why these games, they say, "Oh, you're out of combat? That's great. Here's your HP back." Because what they're saying is like, the reason why you're hunting is because you're waiting for the next level. You're not actually doing any kind of resource management in order to get to your level. Because if you don't do that in Apogea, you say, I'm not going to resource manage. I'm just going to kill monsters and I'm going to rely on HP regen. You can't. You can't. You just can't. Regen doesn't happen if you don't eat food. You need the resources.
Yeah, true.
It's a dependency on resources. So the way that we structure the game requires monsters to have limited drops. And limited resources creates conflicts between people, right? It is a nature of that kind of design. And I remember as well when I played Guild Wars 2 that the economy was absolute dog shit. It was dog shit. It was like in the first, I think, 2 weeks of the server, people already had like, I don't know how much gold. It was a lot of gold. And then you were like slowly patching it and like creating mechanics for you to burn your gold and blah blah blah. You know, just like creating a bunch of patches in the economy because, well, it was not really a competition. It was just like everyone was grinding and having fun, not really thinking about it.
Yeah.
It was a really fun game. I remember having a lot of fun. But I remember that the most fun I had was just exploring. Hunting was about combos, right? With your skills. And PvP was about not getting caught in Zergs.
Yes.
That was it.
Pretty
That
much.
was it. There you go. Guild Wars 2.
Yeah, but PvP is isolated entirely to world versus world and arena,
Yeah,
right?
it's
So
like,
there's
you
no
want a
world PvP.
Yeah, you want a PvP 3v3? Well, now you're level 1. And your gear is like thrown out into the void.
So on that point, I guess I mentioned that in the video too, that to me PvP is like on the basis level the counter to what RPG is. I mean, RPG is about progression. So you can't ever have a level playing field because people progress differently, right? So it's like literally two opposite worlds. And what I think Guild Wars 2 did was actually a good idea, that you have a PvP completely removed from PvE experience, and people that engage in PvP, they are literally on the same level, wearing the same gear. All that matters is skill and some kind of organization.
Yeah.
Whereas
I think this goes back. Yeah, go ahead. You can finish.
no, I just wanted to finish that if you take that example into the PvE world where nothing is even, you may end up in a situation where people just grief and treat each other unfairly, and people quit the game because they're frustrated, especially casuals, which have like a couple of hours between one kid and the other kid, to just enjoy a little bit of life.
Yeah, I think there's this goes back to the question of why did you make the game, right?
Yes.
Because if you really think about it, like, okay, like why did the Guild Wars 2 creators make the game? What were they trying to do? Were they trying to create a fun, casual experience? Yeah, that's what they were trying to do. So it makes a lot of sense to not have PvP at all. If they decide to remove it, that makes sense. It's a casual, fun experience. You're not supposed to be stressed out. It's not supposed to be a harsh competition. That's not what I want, you know? And there's a lot of people out there who don't want that either. If you say, look, I don't think this is the correct way of doing video games, it's like, yeah, that's not really how we should think about things. You should say something along the lines of, that's not how I prefer to play video games. I prefer to play video games lightly. I don't want to compete. I don't want to see other people even. Like, I play online games because they just have like the extra spice that only online gives. Cool. That's very cool. There's a bunch of games out there who does that. Guild Wars 2 is one of them. It's online right now.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't like that. I think it's boring. I think without it, it's not fun enough. And it makes a lot of sense when you add PvP into the game and you go, oh, this changes things, right? It tastes different. It's a little spicy, and I think that's the design philosophy. The issues arrive. They go to the surface once we're talking about consent. Consent is the key word here. It might be a weird word, but it's true. Because when you get attacked without your consent, then shit gets real. It gets like you don't want to play anymore. That's the high frustration you just talked about. And I had to fix that in some way. So the way that I fixed it is you always consent. It's very simple. Blood Moon arises. It gives you a million warnings. It tells you where to go, and it's like if you didn't, it's on you. You consented to that. PvP is the same thing. I give you a warning. I say, look, if you activate PvP, this and this and this and this happens. Are you sure? Say yes, and then it's like it's on you. You consented. And old school Tibia didn't do this.
No.
They did not do this. No, you can be walking around minding your own life, and some like level 200 is gonna come by and just smack you in the face and you're
Ouch.
dead.
All right.
Yeah. And I always thought there was an issue with old school Tibia. I always did. And I always wanted to fix it somehow. But it's very hard, right?
Mhm.
To keep that same structure that I talked about of like scarcity of resources and competition and blah, 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 and have the PvP be disabled at the same time. It always generates conflicts. And there needs to be some escape mechanism for people to relieve that, right?
So,
We saw that on tests, by the way. People were like attacking each other, so I think it worked, quote unquote.
oh, were they? I would run away, so I didn't see. It's fine. And
Yeah, they
so
were like,
yeah, no, I would avoid that probably and run to my mom actually. And so when we think about PvP in games, I guess Blizzard did away with PvP and PvE servers, and on PvE servers you can put war mode on, right?
yeah. This
Sorry,
is
on
what
PvP.
I mean. You can finish.
Yeah, so we literally have a few solutions out there on the market, like separate servers. We have like a separate PvP zones within PvE content, and we then have just open PvP, like I don't know, old school Lineage 2. You just hold control, and now all of a sudden you can target players and just fuck around. So I guess there are many options, and I'm trying to understand what's different about Apogeia's design. You keep mentioning that Blood Moon, and if you could maybe tell me a little bit about it, because again, me and PvP, I run away. So just treat me as a noob and tell me why it's good.
This is what I mean when I say like why did you make the game, right? Because look, if I were trying to make a fun PvP experience where there's very little levels of frustration, I would have made League of Legends. I would have made a game that's like more similar to Old Age, which is a game that I made. It's a game that I made myself called Old Age, and it's a PvP game where there's a bunch of rules and you're all level. There's a level playing field that's like leveled out. Everyone has the same opportunities to create the little mechanics and things like that. But in Apogeia, I didn't want that. I didn't want to create a theme park PvP experience. I'm not trying to make PvP attractive. It is an ugly thing that is there. And I think that it's required to be there in order for you to do the exact thing you just told me, which is like you have to be scared of it. Because if you're not scared of PvP, you're just going to chimp out, right? It's gonna be like, yeah, whatever, let's do whatever I want. And it's like if PvP is there, you're gonna think twice before chimping out on some other guy, right? So it's not that it's good, it's that it's a necessity. It's something that is necessary. You could argue that it could work without it. It could work without the PvP in Apogeia. That's true, but it would taste different. It would have a different seasoning. So I'm not trying to convince anyone that it's a good thing. I'm trying to create a dynamic that without it would not exist, or would be different, would have a different taste. would not be the same thing. Everything about Apogeia is a modern way of reviving old school experiences. You're feeling the old school experience without having to deal with it, because the real old school experience nowadays is bad, is not good. It feels bad. It feels terrible to log into an open Tibia server and not knowing how to talk to an NPC. In old school Tibia, you had to, like, you couldn't click the NPC and then the dialogue would start. You had to like type hi, and then you had to go like job, and then the guy was like, my job is to tend to the church. And then I was like, how do I make this work? Right? How do I make this work? Okay, what if you click on the NPC and then there's a bunch of suggestions, and then I rank the suggestions, like this suggestion is better than this one, and then it's kind of relevant to what you're doing, and then it types for you. It types on your keyboard for you. When you click the suggestion, it's typing for you, right? That's what the code does. So it's a way of you feeling the old school experience without having to actually experience it. And PvP is the same thing. It was like, I want you to piss your pants when the PvP comes on, but I can't just enforce that on you. I have to give you a chance of saying, nah, I'm good right now, you know? So yeah, I guess that answers your question.
It is very interesting answer. So much to unpack there. Fuck me. So I never thought about PvP that way, in a way that it's like it's a necessity. It's ugly. It's a flavor. I always thought of like very binary. I don't want to be killed, and I want to kill. Leave me the fuck alone. I never thought about the impact that this system has on my experience, whether I partake in it or not. This is a very important realization on my part, because it might help me to better understand what my preference is and what to look out for in other games as well.
Yeah, because it's always about you asking yourself why, and being honest. You have to be honest, right? Because when I ask myself, why did I make Apogeia, and I'm honest with myself, the answer isn't that noble. It's actually like I'm not 100% proud of Apogea. I'm a little bit ashamed of it, because it is an egocentrical thing, right? It is egocentrical because I want to have the old school experience. I didn't really care if anyone else did, you know? And if you're very honest with yourself, sometimes you have to do things that you might not like. You might be different from what the ideal scenario is. And that's the thing. Like, whenever you're making anything, you have to ask that question and really like understand the reason why that thing was there, for example, right? So why did PvP happen in Tibia? Like, how did it happen? Why did it feel good? Wasn't it extremely punishing? Why did it feel good? Why do I miss it? You know? And then when I answer the question, I go, oh, okay, I understand now, because it's maybe accidental. I don't know, because recently they changed it. I don't know if you know this,
No,
but
no clue.
the Cipsoft, the owners of Tibia, which is still online, by the way. Tibia is still online. You can still play it. They changed it. PvP now has like a bunch of things. It has a bunch of flags, has a bunch of like buttons and a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you have to like opt in, and then you go, oh, I soft opt in. It's like I only attack if I'm attacked or something like that. I don't really understand how it works. So it kind of tells me that they accidentally created a dynamic that we liked, right? And it's an interesting. It was something that emerged rather than was done on purpose. And once you have a lot of knowledge about a lot of games and a lot of game design, you start to understand that, like, oh, that was actually good. The rough, weird thing was actually good. And then you study and you understand why. You know, you can actually get the studies and you put them together and you go, yeah, that it makes sense. Right? It's like it's a discovery, it's a recipe. And when you're making video games, you have to have that. If you don't have that, your game just fails and you don't know why. You're just like, oh, I don't understand. Like, I did everything right. I made a game called Royal Age. It was 2018, I think. I published that game. And I see no problem with it. It is a perfectly fine game. It had a weird graphics, but it's just the way I draw, right?
It's okay.
And it was very fun. It was a battle royale that combined the unit management, and it just flopped. And I to this day I don't understand why exactly it flopped. I don't know if it's because the game was the monetization system I did, which was unconventional, or if it was the visuals. It was probably the visuals probably contributed a lot, but it flopped. And today, I come to the realization that it was not only just a bunch of things, but also especially because I didn't really ask myself the question, you know, the very important question.
Why? Yeah.
Yeah, why?
Mm-hmm.
Why did I make a battle royale?
Yeah.
Do I even enjoy battle royales? Oh yeah, wait, I don't. Right? Like, why did I make one? And if when you don't enjoy something, it's more often than not you're gonna realize that you don't have a lot of knowledge about it, right? When you enjoy RPGs, you have a lot of knowledge about the thing you enjoy. It's so obvious, and that's exactly the kind of thing that creates good art pieces, good content, good stuff that people go, wow, that's so good. I don't really understand why, but it's really good. Right? Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm like
no, it does, and my
gibberish.
brain keeps racing around the idea that you said you're being egoistical about the game and the vision for the game. I think it's exactly what you need to be, because if you're not the pillar of the vision for the game, other people will fill in the gap and tell you what the game should be about. And I think
exactly.
that ends up with Throne and Liberty, or just pick any shit. And so you take Apogeia and you see it as a solution to your own problem. And if you think about any products, I mean, I come from business and marketing background, so I will name like Basecamp, HubSpot, any of those software companies. They were just like struggling with a thing, so they built a solution to that thing, and it so happened that people had that problem too, and now all they do is build that thing, and the other part of the business has been long removed. So
Yeah.
any kind of problem starts with the founder, in my opinion. Like great product design starts with the founder, because he himself has the problem. He built a solution, and now other people follow. I think that's fucking awesome, dude. I wouldn't be embarrassed about it at fucking all. Like, this is
Oh,
great.
I'm super embarrassed about it. I can't not be, because like ideally in a perfect world, what you want, what you desire is also completely compatible with what everyone wants you to be, right? Um, like the only people I know that want exactly the same thing that I do are like the developers working on the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh yeah, like we want that as well, you know, because they also play those school TV and they also miss it and they also share the vision. And everyone else, I mean, I'm not gonna put everyone in a box, but there's a lot of people who feel like Apogea is incomplete. They're like, there's something missing. It's like, it's quality of life. Is it? It's this. It's that. And I know what's missing is it to be the thing is exactly the thing you want,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it is. It is a. I'm a little ashamed, not too much, but I'm a little ashamed because I feel like I just made whatever I wanted, and I didn't really consider what everyone else wanted. Which is why I take a lot of suggestions too seriously. I take them seriously. Sometimes I might be a little stubborn,
Mm-hmm.
but I actually do consider everything. I do consider all the suggestions because I feel like the marriage of these two things can lead to great products. I could be wrong.
I told you a couple of days ago, or maybe when we were just discussing this call up front, that my partner just walked by a TV when you were on the stream, and she said, "Oh, how refreshing! A developer listening to the community." So, because she's been watching streams with me all the time, and we watch many streamers together as a instead of Netflix essentially, and so she knows people as well, and it was very refreshing to just hear Ed go like, "Oh, that's an interesting idea." It's that simple,
Yeah.
you know? It's that simple. And it really makes a great product if you take the feedback from the outside, but put it through your own filter of principles and vision for the game, right? You have to know what's
Exactly.
right, what's wrong for the product. And I think you are doing like right on it, like carb on it. Seriously, this is crazy. You're very well geared to filter the bad shit out. Because maybe because of that egoism. I don't know, but it's like I don't think anyone in
I
the
don't
chat
know.
complains about you being egoistical as long as we like the game. Yeah, they'll keep quiet. It's fine. So
I guess.
yeah. So do you think we covered like the mixture of Apogea and state of MMOs today and what they might be missing and what might be the future of MMOs? Or is there anything
Yeah,
you
I
can
think
add?
so.
Because we went through
I think
monetization and PvP, which I think are the biggest pet peeves that when it comes to
yeah,
MMOs. Maybe
yeah.
lore. Are you planning any
When we
lore
talk
for
about,
Apogea?
sorry, what?
Are you planning any lore, any quest lines for Apogea? Like some kind of, like, you know how Azeroth has the huge lore around it. I'm not thinking about that scale, but do you have any, like, any fantasy for the world that you try to bring in as well?
Yeah, it was in the game.
Yeah, I mean, there are books lying around. You can talk to the NPCs, but it's like, are you thinking like larger than this? Or do you have some kind of vision for the world and how it changes and what's the next
Oh yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
okay, awesome. Yeah, so it seems like
It
Apogea is
was
a
the first
complete
one of the
game,
first things
really.
I did was
Yeah,
sorry, what?
I feel like Apogea in that case is a more complete game than you think, or other people think actually, because
Oh.
they were accusing you of not being complete.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think that's not exactly what people were saying. They were saying like that the game, like what they feel is like there's roughness to it. They're like, oh, it's this mechanic is way too rough. It doesn't have, it's not intuitive.
Mm.
It's clunky. It's weird. And I agree with them. Look, let me give you an example. Okay,
Hmm.
the trade window. The trade window. You talk to the NPC. A trade window pops up. It's empty. There's nothing in there. And then I give you a little tutorial. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And I'm trying to fix that. That tells you to drag the gold, right? It shows like a little mouse going like this.
Yeah, okay.
And you can drag anything. It doesn't have to be gold. You can drag anything in there. And people were like, dude, why? Like, just show the items. Click the item, buy, sell. It's so simple. And the reason why is because I want the clunkiness. I want it. I want you to feel the clunkiness. I want you to be like, what the fuck is this design? I don't understand. And then figure it out. Of course, I can make the entire game like this, where everything is clunky. That's going to be a nightmare to play. But the trade system, I want it to be a little clunky, just a little bit, a tiny bit. And I even made a mechanic on top of it where the NPC tells you what it buys and what it sells. And then I give you little hints like, oh, you can hold shift to quick drag. And I give you a little gold button that detects the gold in your inventory and then throws it into the trade. So that it's not, like mechanically clunky, but like design wise, it is clunky. Like user experience wise, it is clunky. But it's on purpose. And they're like, okay, just change this, just make it better. And I'm like, no. I changed it at one point.
Yeah.
I made it better. I was like, oh, it's like clean now. And then I was playing by myself and I was like, I don't want this.
Okay.
I don't want it. I don't want to play this game. Like, play World of Warcraft, man. There's so many people there just like you. Play that game. I want the Apogeia trade, and I want it to be empty when you open it because you don't know if you're buying or selling. And I'm not listing all the items. You have to drag them. You have to fast click or whatever. I don't know. I want it to be like that because I like it. It's the kind of mechanic that I enjoy. And people, that's what I'm talking about. When you say like, oh, people like complaining that it's not complete. This is what I mean. I mean this. I mean they want to like make it want to streamline the experience, make it smoother, make it simpler, make it more accessible, make it more blah blah blah. And I'm not scared of making a rough product. I'm not scared of making a clunky product. It's one of the design philosophies that I follow the most, which is yet another one, yet another game design philosophy. It's called KISS. You know that one?
Keep it simple, stupid.
Keep it simple, stupid. Hell yeah, dude. That's it. It's the one I follow the most. And whenever I make any kind of system, any kind of mechanic, any kind of idea that pops in our head, we go like, what is the simplest way we can do this? What is the simplest way that's going to give us the most result? And then we do that. Trade was no different. PvP was no different. Looting was no different. There's a suggestion right now on Discord that's getting a lot of upvotes and it's making me sweat, which is like they want every single loot bag to have something to do with the monster they killed. And it's like, would that be cool? Yes, it would be very cool. Would that be simple? No. It would
Quite
not be
opposite,
simple.
yeah.
It would be very hard. It would be very hard. Am I considering it? Sure. Like I'm thinking about it. Maybe I can find a simple solution, a simple way of doing that. Maybe. But the way I'm thinking about it right now, it's a no. Absolutely
Sorry,
not.
chat.
It's so much work. But maybe I can think of something.
So what I understood from what you just said is that you don't see simple and clunky as contrary. They can both exist. Is that what you're saying?
Simple and clunky. What do you mean?
Well,
Can you rephrase the question?
Sure, absolutely. So you said you keep the interface clunky and rough on purpose, and then you said you follow KISS philosophy, which is keep it simple. I'm just trying to get that reaffirmation from you that those two don't exclude each other. Like you feel that even though you have to drag that goal, even though this trade is like rough, it's still simple. Like, is that what you're getting at?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No, it's simple in development terms.
Okay. All right. See.
User experience
Okay.
terms.
All right. Now I get it. Okay. Now we're on the same page. There we go. See, that's why I like to poke a question a bit, because just to get it. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
The simplest development way of doing trade is a window that you just put the item and you click yes or no. Development wise, But user experience wise, the simplest trade would be what you just described, right? No, I described it.
You described it, but I keep thinking about the real life experience. You walk into the flower shop, all items are on display. You don't like give wallet to the cashier and they tell you what you can buy, right? And in Apogeia we have the opposite experience. I'm thinking if people are trying to compare Apogeia to what they know from real life, and then they find that conflict uncomfortable. Yeah.
It's and you know how it is in old school TV?
No.
It's like this. Look, it's you tell me if this is better than Apogea or not. You go to an NPC, you say hi, they go hi. You say trade, and they go, oh, you want to trade? Yeah, sure. I have golden flower for 5 gold, a rose for 10 gold, an iron sword for 25 gold, and it's like in the text.
Oh.
And then you go, iron sword, and they go, do you want to buy an iron sword for 25 gold? And then you go, yes. And they go, well, here you go. And then they would trade the gold with the. So when you selling loot, you're selling loot, okay? You're selling like 20 iron swords. You go to NPC, so go, hi, trade, sell 20 iron swords. Yes. You tell me if that's better or worse than RPG.
Yeah. I think it is. I mean, I'm coming from the World of Warcraft experience, which you call like,
Yeah.
Candy Crush of MMOs. So it's just essentially, yeah, I prefer what Apogea has. That's closer to what I know for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but then at the same time, it's like, okay, why did you go halfway? Why didn't I go all the way? Why didn't I just completely streamline the experience for trading to make it go as smooth as possible for the user? Because I don't want it to
Yeah,
be as smooth as possible. I want it to have a little bit of bump because I think that that makes the game have personality and or whatever you want to call it, charm, or whatever. Without it, it becomes trivial, and I don't want it to be trivial. I want it to have something. If it's bad in interface terms, like look at, I don't care about the uniqueness of your design. I care about not having to like be constantly dragging and clicking all the time. Okay, I'll add like I'll make it smoother in that sense. You are correct in doing that, right?
hmm
But when you say like, okay, you have to change the design in order for it to be simpler for me to understand, that's a no. That's a no in every single aspect of the game. I'm not changing the design for it to be simpler to understand. I want you to have that little bit of frustration to understand things. It can't be too much, or else it's just annoying and you rage quit. But it can't be too little, or else you just go like, "Wow, this is boring," and then you alt F4. And then the developers have no idea why it happened. It's the curve again. It's the flow curve. It's
yeah.
Macaulay's curve, right? It needs to have that little bit of frustration at all times, so that you feel like the struggle is worth the reward.
So I guess to maybe just wrap up your answer, just to add to it, the way you find your line in the sand between hardcore and easy is through all those principles that you've been mentioning all the call, right? It's
Yeah.
essentially how it works, which it makes you and Apogea unique, and that's why we love you, guy, dude. Yeah, seriously, it's awesome. Thanks so much for making Apogea. I think I speak for everyone in the chat, and it was such a pleasure to have you here, dude. And all I want is to go through some questions from people, because I feel like
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's see.
we talked about the important stuff, but for sure there's some nuance to every question and every aspect of MMO, and people probably have those questions. Let me see if I have them from. Keisaki said, I believe there needs to be a balance. Some people barely have any time to play video games. Even though they love it, sometimes it feels like the excuse for pay to win is that. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah. I think it all comes down to um, the reason why the game exists, right? Look, I'm not making the game to provide a wholesome experience in the sense that it's like it's for everyone. Everyone can enjoy Apogea. No, it's not. The game is niche, and if you enjoy the game, that means you're part of the niche, wanting you or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's some mechanics in place in Apogea right now that gives you some edge if you don't play the game too much, which is the faith system. Essentially gives you an XP boost if you're offline.
Mm.
When you come back to the game, it gives you an XP boost so you can catch up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not giving you a money way of getting there faster. That's not gonna happen. I think the argument is valid if the game is trying to be a product, which is not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make a good video game, and if you cannot participate, that is fine, right? I want the people who want to participate and can take the sacrifice to enjoy it way more than the people who can't. That's life, man. Like there isn't much I can do about it without it spoiling for everyone.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's where the creation account pop-up comes from and sends you off to casual MMOs Google search, right? Is that the idea
Yeah,
behind it?
exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I put that there. I was like, "Are you sure you want to do this? Like, there's other games out there who's like, it's gonna take care of you better.
Yeah.
It's gonna give you a warm hug
Yeah,
and say
absolutely.
like, It's okay.
Good
Look,
boy. Yeah.
you've been working all day, and I'm gonna treat you so nice. It's like, yeah, sure, man. Like, I completely understand and respect that.
hmm
But it's not what I want. It's not the game I was trying to make. It's not what I miss. It's not what I feel lacks in the game industry. There's plenty of games like that out there. Are we supposed to be yet another one? I don't want that.
No.
What a
Sure.
what a what a terrible fate for Apogea.
Yeah.
You know, you have been
I've been.
cursed with mediocrity.
Oh, we have, and I literally wanted to say that I am following most MMOs that are coming out, with exception to crypto. And so I have the spreadsheet of like 40 plus MMOs that are coming up. And to be honest, dude, whatever I look at is like, it feels like I've played it already. It's an alpha stage,
Yeah.
like beta stage, whatever stage you want to call it. I look at it, I'm like, yep, I know exactly what the game is about. And that's a really horrifying feeling, that after you've played a few MMOs, it feels like you've played all of them. I hate that feeling. And Apogeia was this
Yeah.
fucking this. Do you remember the ice bucket challenge?
Yeah,
Apogea was
dude.
that to me. Like, dude, just fucking drop it on my head. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Like, wake the fuck up.
That's very cool, man. That's one of the best reviews ever. Thanks.
Yeah. No. My pleasure, dude. I can't wait for the playtest.
Apogea was like getting punched in the face.
Yeah, it was punch in the face from a random person. But it was something I
Amazing.
needed, I guess. All right. The next question we have from Gagnato. I think the only problem with cosmetics is, it's not a question, it's just a comment, but it's fine. Is when you make the store items amazing and pretty, and everything else in the game is just bland. Guild Wars 2
Yeah.
review. Thank you so much. Yeah, it is, or World
Yeah,
of
no, but
Warcraft even.
yeah,
To
you're
be
right.
honest.
It's like if you want to sell the thing, you have to make it attractive, right?
Yeah.
So that's the problem with the cash shop.
Yeah, absolutely. All the best items are purchasable. It's so sad, man. It's disgusting. Okay, well, we have Balkan Snipero. How will we tackle the fact that you can level backwards and it being so harsh? That is literally a question targeted at me. Because I keep dying so much, I level backwards, and it's like a meme on my channel. Fuck off, okay? Thank you so much. Jesus. Do you have anything to add?
The way we tackle it is, well, it's a social MMO for a reason, isn't it? When you struggle, look, the Apogea brought back some things that I thought in my heart that would never happen again in video games. I was 100% sure that it would never happen again, which is people asking for help. What is the last fucking time you saw someone standing in the middle of the town and being like, "Can someone please help me?" I've never seen that anymore. It's been 20 years and I haven't seen that anymore. And Apogea brought that back. I saw people standing by saying, "Can you please give me an item? Can you please help me kill a monster? Can you please help? Can we go in a party? Can we please, man, help me? I'm struggling." That's how you solve your issue of leveling backwards, is you reach out. You go, "Hey man, can you help me? Like, I'm a noob in the game." And then the level 30 on the depot, organizing his depot, is gonna be like, "Yeah, sure, man, I'll help you.
Yeah.
Here's some items, here's some gold. Let's go hunt this creature."
Awesome.
"Oh, what's your gear? What do you do?" Like, I've seen that happen a million times in the tests, which brings me a lot of joy, by the way. But without this specific struggle that you're having, without the game being scarce in resources, without it being hard as nails, that interaction would never happen. You would never breach the social gap to reach out to someone else and risk embarrassment if the game wasn't hard and rewarding. Because it can't just be hard. Because if it's just hard, you're just being like, "Well, fuck this shit," and then you leave, right? But if it's hard and rewarding at the same time, you go, if I just have a little help, then I can just take off, right? And yeah, it's the same philosophies that I talked about.
How do you think about the human nature to cheat the system? Like, I feel like we're all lazy in a way, and so there will be, I think, inevitably external tools and sites that help you get around.
Yeah.
Do you keep that in mind, and what are your thoughts? Will you? I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
you really don't have a choice. You have to let them exist because this is someone else's website. But how do you think they might?
No, no, no,
No, no,
no.
no. Okay, okay, okay.
Wait, wait, wait,
Brief me in.
wait,
Brief me in.
wait. Hang on. We're nerds.
Mm-hmm.
I've been making games for a million years, so we have a lot of tools to detect these kind of things. A lot. And we actually detected some people cheating during the tests. So it's not like, oh, it's just gonna happen and there's nothing we can do about it. No, we can do a lot about it, actually.
I
Like a
think
lot.
what I had in mind, and this is good that you mentioned. Actually, I didn't think about that. But what I had in mind is literally like Apogea wiki, where you can like find out everything without having to play the
Oh, you
game.
mean like a wiki?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, the wiki is a different thing. Like, of course, I can't stop wikis, but I am crazy. So I like to develop games. I like to make new things all the time. And one thing that I like to do is changing things. So wikis will, you know, you guys are gonna have to be active. You're gonna have to be constantly updating the wiki because I'm gonna be constantly updating the game
Okay.
in ways that if you follow the wiki, you're gonna fall into a trap and die. You know?
That'd be awesome.
And
Oh no.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Can I ask a quick development question? Will there be API to access any data for the game?
There is an API you can call for like things like the leaderboard and like information for like data on the on the game,
Hmm.
but we haven't made it public yet, right? Because
Okay.
we're looking into protecting it more.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I think there will be. I'm not entirely sure. I can't give you 100% certainty, but there might be.
I would love to build some tools around API. I mean, that's what I basically nerd on.
Yeah, that's the reason why we made it. We're like, oh, it would be cool if like people could get the leaderboard and then analyze experience growth, right?
Yeah.
To see like who's leveling the fastest and
Yeah.
how, stuff like that.
Especially that these will be tight communities. I mean, what did you say? Servers like 500,000 people. Everyone will know each other, like straight up, like a little village. And so it would be cool to have this extra layer of preview of competition of how people are doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, cool. Keisaki asks, how will the combat in Apogeia show that there is a skill gap between players? I haven't experienced the PvP at all, but I can't seem to understand how will PvP in a game like Tibia or Apogeia have a combat that is a mix of understanding of the game and player mechanics. The combat in Tibia, for reference, seems very static. I love the idea of PvP. How different will it be from Tibia? Very long question.
That's a great question.
Happy to break it down if you want.
Yeah. I guess if anyone here played Apogea, they might think that this answer is very obvious. Like, oh, like what? Didn't play the game? Like, there's a bunch of skill shots. Movement's free. It's not grid based. You have to aim. The grid abilities, they're very hard to aim.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very simple. Like it's very simple. Like it's just skill, right? But no, it's actually not. That's not the answer. This is whenever we talk about this, we talk about two things at the same time. We talk about stat check and skill gap, right? Mm-hmm. It's two things. And personally, this is a taste of mine, which I kind of like shoved into the design. I don't like either. I don't like stat check and I don't like skill gap. I like both at the same time. So I designed Apogea with that in mind. I designed it in a sense that if you're super strong, it is much easier for you to take down a person. But if you're super skilled, you can compensate with your lack of stats. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you're level 60 knight, you're not gonna die to a level 20 sorcerer. It's gonna be very hard. You're gonna need like three sorcerers, three mages at the same sorcerers. I'm spewing Tibia names in my accent. Yeah. You're gonna need three mages to take down a knight, right?
Wow.
But if you like super skilled and you're fighting a knight that's like 10 or 15 levels above you, and you're super skilled, you're like sweaty, you have all the mechanics, and you're like dashing, and you're like potting, and you're positioning yourself, you're dodging his skills, you can probably take him down. It is possible. I've seen it in tournaments, right? If you watch the tournament videos, I'm gonna send them here on the.
Yeah, no, that's so I think that's pretty much the answer to the question, right? That works. Okay, last one. Ooh, Gagneto. Hey Ed, just had an idea, suggestion. What do you feel about how do you feel about making secret specific recipes for NPCs where you drag maybe items alongside gold to get maybe discounted prices or even different items? Don't know if that's been suggested before.
It's a great suggestion,
It's a
man.
very interesting one. Holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're on it.
When I programmed the trade system, I actually made it so that sometimes when you offered an item to an NPC, he would offer another item back. It's actually programmed, it's in the code. But I scratched that because it was it was complicated. I was overcomplicating the system. So I was like, okay, let me just simplify it a little bit. And I just let it to be like, item equals gold, gold equals item. But I love the idea of being secret, of being like a very specific case, right? Where you drag an item and then another item pops out and you go, whoa, right? Like that's cool. That's cool. I
That's
really like
cool.
that idea. I would take the suggestion to heart. In
Save it.
fact, I'll
Save
note
it
it
before you
down.
forget.
Yeah.
Look, so I've run out of questions.
Yoink my idea now.
Chat. I don't have any more questions. Discord. Do you guys wanna? Do you wanna call it a day? Do you wanna hang out or like? Yeah. So I'm okay. I've run out of the things to ask based on the topics we wanted to discuss. And Chad, if anyone is like missed half of it or all of it, then no point talking to you. But it's if you missed half of it, just joined. This will be on YouTube as a live VOD, and then I will also like chop out the bit of the interview and upload as a separate video so you can jump straight into it because this stream has been going for like 6 hours now and this interview is only like at the end of it, right? So, Ed, what do you think? We good?
Yeah. Yeah, it's up
Do,
to you,
do,
man.
do you
What
want
do
to
you
drop
have
a
to tell
bomb?
me?
Drop the bomb to us, on us, and tell me about the playtest. Do we have a date?
Oh yeah. The way things aren't going that great. We're a little too slow right now. So um I still don't know. It's gonna be on May for sure. We still need another month for like mapping. And then we need a few days for testing the map.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be on May. I know that much, but I can't give a date out. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
No, absolutely fine.
I apologize.
No, don't be. I know how because you're building that probably in Agile, right? Like Agile software development. So
Yeah, it's more Scrum than Agile, but
is it?
without the meetings,
Right. Yeah. Okay, I
we
get it.
don't do a lot of meetings.
No, that
I
makes
don't like
sense.
that.
All async. Yeah, I do work the same way. I just don't meet with people. I am all about writing culture. I love the idea of radiating information rather than meeting and talking about bullshit, wasting everyone's time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. No, that's fine. Perfect. So when is ready. I guess that's the answer.
No, it's on May. Look, it's on May. It's the month of May.
Oh,
I
the
don't
month of
know.
May. Okay,
Yeah, I
roughly.
don't know
Okay,
exactly
so
the
that's
date.
playtest. What happens after playtest? What do you
Oh
think?
yeah, that's a good question. It's a good question. Playtest is just to see if the solutions that we're thinking of is gonna work. Um, that's what we need to get away from the playtest because I feel like every playtest we do, there's a new issue that arises. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Last playtest was like, oh, griefing. Griefing is a thing. And I was like, we've been running tests for 6 months, and now griefing is a
Yeah.
thing. And I guess it's because of population, right? It's like way too many players, so things start getting a little extreme. And so we're gonna see if our solutions fix that. We're gonna see if the new map satisfies the population demand, right? There's way too many players, so the areas are way too crowded. And once that's done, then we're gonna start like covering every single area on the map, opening more areas, structuring out the main quest line to be more complete, more whole, adding more side quests, adding more monsters, more bosses, figuring out the late game, see if the loop works. Because there is an end game loop that we want to make. And then release. So it's probably going to have one more test after the next one. So
Makes
it's
sense.
a test on May, and then a test on June, probably June, either June or July. It's going to depend on how long it would take to make things. And then we're going to launch by the end of the year.
Awesome.
So that's the plan right now. I
Yeah.
can't give you 100% guarantee it's going to go smooth like that. But I am very tired and I just want to get the game out, right?
I feel you, man. I really do. Can you remind us how long you've been working at Apogeia so far? How many years?
We started in 2021. 2021 was the first prototype.
Wow.
There's an Imgur album that I
shit.
think Imgur deleted. I'm not really sure. They either deleted it or Imgur itself imploded. I don't know what happened. But I remember the first post I made was 2021.
Wow. 4 years.
Yeah, it's not really 4 years because we took some like times in between development to make other stuff, other games and other stuff like that.
So on and off.
Stuff that gave us like good edge to finish Apogea.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. Look, I really like your approach. When it's ready, is ready. Someone in the chat said, so at the end of the year they get divorced. So keep their hopes up, and we'll see how that goes. If things need more testing, I bet you can count on the community. I don't know how you managed to do that, but this community is fucking awesome. So shout out to all of you guys. I don't think I've ever been so invested in the Discord. I might not like write messages or like actually post shit in there, but I read, I follow, I enjoy, which I can't say for any other Discord servers really. So really well done on the community. I think we all try to support you as much as we can, and
That's all thanks to Aches, who's constantly shit posting there.
All right, there he is. Yeah, awesome. Okay, well, shout out to Akis. There you go. A sweet boy. Awesome. All right, Ed, I will end it here. We said
All right.
to run it until like 4 p.m. I think I'm gonna wrap it up now. It's been such a pleasure, dude. Yeah, absolutely. Do you have much planned for the rest of the day? What do you have in the schedule?
Right now, I'm hungry as fuck, so I'm
Hey, me too. Hey, well done. Okay,
let's go, man.
Well, let's go. Let's fuck off. Okay, good. Chat. I'm gonna disconnect with Ed. Any last words, Ed?
Thank you for having me. This was a very good call. Very good talk. It was the first time that I actually got to expose my deep design philosophies. No one ever asked me about this, so I really appreciate it, man. I really do. I thank you for the questions. They were really good questions.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I was a bit stressed out that I'm gonna flop it, but if you liked it, I liked it. Okay. No, I really loved it, and there are probably many other times we're gonna have a chat here and there, whether on Discord or in public or whatever. But if you need anything, give us a shout and we'll get in touch. And in the meantime, I'll bid you farewell. Okay.
Right,
so what do I say? Obrigado, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, is that the only word I know? Okay. All right.
You, man.
Thanks, man. See ya, Ed. See ya. Bye bye.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.
Subscribe.